This show has been made possible with the continued support of the 7 Stars Partners. Yep, I definitely brought this on myself. If you watched last week's show, then you know I came out and said the weather was getting better and our thoughts were turning towards spring and summer. So yeah, well played, Mother Nature. Well played. Hello, dear friends, and welcome to the shit show we call the online gambling industry. And when we discuss what's happening in our industry, there's no place more shitty than the UK market, thanks mostly to the folks at the Gambling Commission. Late last week, the UKGC confirmed that British players will soon face stake limits for online slots beginning this fall. It's just one of the proposed changes included in the Gambling Act Review white paper. And while the reduction in the amount you're allowed to bet is certain to have a negative effect on operators, which undoubtedly will trickle down to the affiliates, it could have been worse. I mean, not much worse, but still. Players under the age of 25 will be restricted to betting just £2 per spin on online slots. But grown-ass adults who hold down jobs, raise their children, pay their mortgages and taxes, well, they can bet all the way up to £5 per spin. Ooh. Of course, you can only do that if you pass their affordability checks, right? And if all of this seems just a bit like an Orwellian overreach of government, please remember, my feeble-minded friends, that we are all just too stupid to manage our own lives. And the government is doing us a favor. They're only here to help us. And speaking of the new stake limits for online slots, the UK's Department for Culture, Media and Sport stated that the reduction in stake limits will most likely cost operators over £160 million a year. That's over $200 million. That's worrisome for affiliates, as the money that's lost will need to be made up from somewhere. And it should be worrisome to taxpayers in Britain, as the reduction in the funds from taxable gaming revenue will also need to be made up from somewhere. And while our friends at the Betting and Gaming Council were not really critical of this new stake reduction, they did caution that it could push more players offshore, which we know the Commission and the idiot at its helm don't believe, or at least they don't care to believe. Of course, those fools don't care about a lot, really, unless it directly affects their income or keeping their jobs, so there are no surprises here. Welcome back. As we head into the second half of the program, we arrive at the part of the show where I welcome another new APCW sponsor. This time, it's the KNG Partners. They have no negative carryover and no activity quota, plus an effective revenue share of up to 37.5%, and that's lifetime. They also have detailed reports and quick payments, so check out their review page on the APCW website or just visit them directly at kngpartners.com. Now, we've discussed the continuing issues for our industry in the United Kingdom, arguably the most troubled and dysfunctional of the regulated markets we know. But coming in a very close second is the Netherlands. Recently, the Dutch Gambling Authority began conducting investigations of illegal gambling offers made on affiliate websites. Now naturally, when I first heard about this story, my fight or fight harder instincts kicked in. But then I did something unusual that I encourage you all to try. I read the article, and turns out these affiliates were targeting players registered on that country's gambling exclusion list. Might I say, what sort of a sick son of a bitch targets vulnerable people? What kind of asshat do you have to be to willingly destroy families to profit a few bucks in your pocket? And even more disturbing, I'm going to get real with you here now, so please bear with me. Even more disturbing is that there are some of these sorts of webmasters in our midst at GPWA. They are targeting players on the UK's GamStop list. I've already made it pretty clear how I feel about people who would do that sort of thing. They might not even be people at all. And if you're one of them and you're watching this, you should know what you're doing violates the GPWA Code of Conduct. And if we find out about it, we will remove your private membership and your links. So, have a heart, be a human being, and don't do shit like that, all right? I'm off my soapbox. You run your business however you feel is best, as long as you can deal with the consequences. That said, that's another show in the books. I'm gonna take my leave and come back again next week, God willing.